Hey guys, it's Brandon Cruz with Damon's Real Texas Barbecue, doing another video for you today. This time we're going to do a video about beef cheek or cachete. We're going to make barbacoa is what we're going to do. Barbacoa traditionally was the entire cow head. Now more you see it as beef cheek or cachete. That's what we have here. I'm going to show you real quick just how expensive this is. It's $4.99 a pound. We've got almost 4 pounds in this pack. We've got 5 pounds in this one. We got $25 for this 5-pound pack. So I mean, this is expensive. There is more loss on this than in some of the other ones that we cook, compared to like the cow tongue. I'm gonna trim it up, and that's where we're gonna get our loss from. Now, a lot of people don't trim their barbacoa, but I'm one of these people that when I eat barbacoa, I cannot stand to pick up a taco and the grease run out the back of it, right onto my clothes. I have a lot of shirts that have grease stains from eating barbacoa, and I don't like my barbacoa that way. So that's why I trim it. There's plenty of fat in this meat already. So we're just going to take off the excess, so that way we still have plenty of flavor from the fat. We're just not dripping out of our tacos with grease, because I don't like it that way. But also, I want to tell you real quick about beef cheeks. Like, used to, these were cheap. Same thing with cow tongue, fajitas. That was all throwaway meat. And now, once people realized how good it was, they started charging for it. I tell this story often. My aunts used to tell me how when they were kids, they used to go with my grandmother to the butcher shop here in town, and they'd go early in the morning before the butcher shop opened, and they would stand in line. In the back, there was an alleyway, and there was a table in that alley. And the butcher, he would come out in the morning, and he would throw all the scraps on that table. And the Mexican ladies of the town, they would sit there and they would divide it up, and they would be like, okay, well, you have a family of 6, you have a family of 4, you take this much and this, and they divide it all up. And that's how they fed their families. And a lot of what they ate was beef cheek, cow tongues, fajitas, tripe to make menudo. And now that's some of the most expensive stuff you see in the grocery store. So the reason I cook this stuff is to carry on those traditions, because if we don't continue these processes, we'll forget it. And a lot of people were like, man, no, we'll never forget how to make this stuff. There's a lot of kids nowadays that grew up in Hispanic families and don't know how to make this stuff. So hopefully by this video, I'll be able to show you how to make it if you've never made it before. And if you have made it before, this might just be another way for you to learn the way I do it. So, all right, so we're going to take these out. And like I said, we're going to trim them up. I'm going to show you a spot on the cheek that I always take off. A lot of people don't, but to me, like I said, my main thing is having a good final product. I want that when you're eating that taco, I want it to be perfect. So, okay, on both of these, you'll see this. When you open it up, you're going to see this fine little membrane right here. If you can see, this one might be a better one to look at. You can see it's like silver skin, then a little fine layer of meat, and then more silver skin or membrane. This little section right here is so tough. Even once you have gotten this all rendered down and it's soft, this part is going to stay a little chewy. I don't like that, so I take it off. And that right there, just doing that one simple process, is going to give you a much cleaner final product. You're not going to have all that nasty grease dripping down the back of your taco. See, now that red meat, we want to keep all that. But what we're taking off is just this little fine layer right here. See what it looks like? And it's every piece of cheek has that. So this piece is what I'm taking off, because like I said, you can see that silver skin. And silver skin is always tough and chewy. So just throw that away right there. Then we're going to look at the rest of this fat. And you see all this perfect meat, but you see this fat right here. This is, some people would keep that. I don't. There's plenty of nice fat already in this. So we're just going to cut off the excess, and then we're stuck with that. And that's perfect amount of fat to be left on this piece of meat. You'll still have a good product at the end. You just won't have all that nasty grease staining your shirts. So we're going to take this piece off again, this membrane. And there you go. So that's the spot that the piece that we're trying to take off of every one of these sections of beef cheek. Leaves you with that. You just want to do a quick inspection, and you can kind of see this right here hanging off will probably get burned as we're cooking. So we're going to take it off. We don't need all of this fat right here. I mean, when you think about that, you know, could you imagine just making a taco of just this? That would be nasty. I wouldn't want anybody I know to eat that. So that's why, but now this is beautiful. Beautiful piece of red meat. So we're going to get these 4 done. We'll get them seasoned up, and then we'll get them on the barbecue pit, and we'll show you the next step. All right, we got our beef cheeks all trimmed up. You can see they look really, really pretty. And you can see the marbling. This is why I'm saying that you really don't need all that excess fat, because look at the marbling just in the meat alone. That's, I mean, that's as good as any ribeye out there. So we're going to season this with our seasoning. You can season it with whatever you like. Barbecue seasoning. You can. Some people just use salt, pepper, and garlic. Season them heavy. Don't be afraid of it. You know, you're not going to over season these things. I say that but somebody out there might challenge me to that. And I've yet to over season one. And like I say, I season very heavy. Alright guys, we've got them all seasoned up. Like I said, I season very heavy when we're doing this. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bag them up, and I'm going to let them sit overnight just to let that seasoning really get in there. Now, you don't have to do that, and I haven't always done that. There's times that, hey, I'm in a hurry, and last minute, forgot to trim the barbacoa or season the barbacoa, so I got to trim it, season it, and throw it right on the pit. I've done that. It's not going to hurt you, but I really would always rather do it the night before, season it up, bag it, let it sit in the fridge overnight, and then put them on in the morning. So that's what we're going to do here, and we'll show you all the next step. So we have had our tongue and our barbacoa on since 6 this morning. They went on around 6 o'clock, and it is now 2 o'clock. The pit's been running roughly about where it's positioned. I think 325 is where it's been running most of the day, but that's where my temperature reads, is in the front. So where I've had these has been sitting back, further back, where they're not getting as much heat. So the barbacoa and the tongue have been getting maybe about 250 to 265 probably most of the day, or up until now. Now, the reason I tell you this is because I know somebody's going to ask, but it's not important. It's not important how long they've been on. It's not important what temperature I've been running. What we're looking for is a color. You know, we want these to be a certain color, that dark mahogany, and once we've reached that, that's good. That now they're ready for the next step, to be braised. So what I'm saying is, whatever your pit runs, whatever you're comfortable running your pit at to get it to this color, that's where we want you, then pull and go into the next step. It's not important what the internal temp is right now because it's still got a long way to go, I can guarantee you. But anyway, because our ultimate goal is going to be in the 203 range, possibly more. It all just depends because we're trying to reach a tenderness in our barbacoa as well. So anyway, but for now, what we're going to do is take our onions, get everything prepared for our next step, which is the braising process. So we're going to take one large onion. I didn't have a large onion, so I'm using a medium onion and a small onion. But and we're just doing a rough chop on this. It's nothing, because we're not wanting to serve this onion with our meat later on. All it's there for is flavor, so we're just going to do a big rough chop. I have my heat gloves on underneath. I should have taken them off. But I'm going to be pulling this meat, the barbacoa and lengua, off, and I don't want to have to put them on. Okay. You don't even really have to worry about breaking them up. They're going to cook down and break up. You take basically a whole garlic bulb. That's going to be that's a pretty good size one right there. I'm using pre-peeled garlic, so, and then we're just going to mince it. That's about it. It doesn't have to be perfect, doesn't have to be even minced all that fine. Because like I said, this is just to add flavor to our braising liquid. And our braising liquid is just beef broth. You can make your own beef broth if you want, but we just buy beef broth here. Now this is a 49 ounce can, but it all depends on how big of a pan you're using. This is a large pan. I want to make sure that my meat isn't submerged in it. It's just going to be in there an inch or so, you know, from the bottom of the pan. It's not. So now we'll put 4 bay leaves. Now if you're using a small pan, you might just do one. I'm cooking about, well, 1 tongue, and I believe it's probably about 8 pounds of barbacoa, maybe. So there's a few bay leaves. Like I say, if you're using a smaller pan, just use 1 bay leaf. Use less onions as well. But all right, so now we can see our barbacoa, and it's still firm, but you can see the mahogany colors in it. It's really dark. It is where we want our barbacoa, and we're just going to set it in there. Once again, look in the light, you can see the colors to it. Like I say, it's a real pretty dark color, and it's still firm. So you can see how firm they are. So there's our beef cheeks. And here's our cow tongue. And you can see the color as well. So now we are going to put foil on them and braise them, put them back in the pit. This time they're not going to go in the side of the pit where it's cooler. It's going to go closer to my hotter side. So Pit's been running at 325. We're putting it right in that area, in that zone, about 325. Because now that the liquid is in there, you really don't have to worry how hot you get it. Because what we're trying to do is basically steam it. And as long as you don't lose your liquid, where you get it so hot that all your liquid evaporates out, you don't want that. That will burn all your meat. So as long as the liquid's in there, put it in a nice hot spot in the pit. Go check it in about an hour. We'll check it, hour and a half. We'll actually start probing it. We'll feel it. That's what we're going to go off a lot, is just feeling. Because you want to be able, that barbacoa wants to just break down. When you're ready to get it or to eat it, you just want to be able to pull it with your hands. So that's what we're looking for next. But we're going to put it back on the pit and let it run. We'll come check it in an hour to an hour and a half. Alright guys, it's been roughly about 2 hours since we started braising our barbacoa and our lengua. I've checked them about every hour, or after the first hour. I've been checking them every 30 minutes or so. They're ready now. I'm going to pull them out. I've yet to stick a probe in them. I've just been pushing them with my finger until I get to the tenderness that I'm looking for. So let me pull them out. We're going to take a look at them. They smell absolutely amazing. All right. All right. So this is what I've been wanting to show you. Oh man, look at that. So, like I said, we have yet to take a probe to find out what the internal temp is. That's not where we were looking for or concentrated on. What we're looking for is that. You see how soft it is? I can literally push my finger through this. Like it wants to go right through all this. So now we know that it's perfect tenderness. Now I'm going to show you what the internal temp, and they're probably at different temps. They're probably, I'm going to guess, you might find some at 205. Some may be at 210, 212 for the tongue. They're all right around 212. Yeah. So, but you can see literally how tender they are. That's what you're looking for. So what we're going to do now is let these rest. We don't want to go ahead and start breaking them up to eat. We're going to let them cool down before we break them up and make tacos into them. And we'll show you all that next step. All right, guys, so we are finished with our barbacoa. I'm going to show you now what the final result is. Like I said, these have been trimmed, seasoned, smoked, braised. Now they have been completed, and we are going to make some tacos. They are cooled down now. You can see how tender they are. Just as perfect as they can be. Now, had we not trimmed these, we would have a ton of grease at the bottom of this bowl. But they've been trimmed. You can see they are still moist. I mean, beyond belief. They are not dry whatsoever. Completely tender. And now they're ready to make some tacos. Well, didn't want to get this glove dirty too, but we're going to. Throw a little cilantro on there. A little bit of white onion. I like a little hot sauce. So throw a little hot sauce on there. And there is a heck of a breakfast taco. Telling you,
We're just about sold out of everything. We have no brisket. Yeah.
Outrageous. It is really so good. Not greasy. Flavor is there. You taste the smoke. Now, you notice we cook these with the lengua together. Different process. I mean, same process, but because the cut of the meat is different, it's going to taste different. This has a real beefy flavor. The tongue doesn't have quite that type of flavor, not quite as beefy. It's a little leaner, but man, both of them delicious. This barbacoa is out of this world. Try this recipe, like and subscribe to our channel. We'll have more videos coming out. Thank you for watching. God bless you, and remember, smoked meat, not meth.